What if I told you that the person you're about to meet for the first time will decide who you are in less time than it takes to read this sentence? In just 7 seconds, their brain, an ancient and instinctual machine, will have already formed a verdict on your intelligence, your trustworthiness, your social status, your kindness, and even your potential for success. It's not a conscious choice they're making. It's a primal, lightning-fast survival mechanism hardwired into our DNA, a leftover from a time when quickly assessing friend from foe was a matter of life and death. And it all happens long before you've even had a chance to say your name. This unconscious judgment feels unfair, almost like a glitch in our social software. But what if it wasn't a glitch? What if it was a code? A system you could understand and even influence. In this video, we're going to unravel the 7 psychological triggers that govern those first 7 seconds. We'll turn that window of judgment from an intimidating threat into your most powerful social advantage. And you absolutely must stay for the final trigger, number 7. It's a technique so subtle, so deeply ingrained in our subconscious wiring, that using it feels less like a social skill and more like a superpower for creating instant connection. The very first signal you send, long before you open your mouth, is broadcast by your body. Your posture is a silent conversation with everyone you meet. Our brains, particularly the ancient part called the amygdala, are constantly scanning our environment for threats. An open, expansive posture, shoulders back, chest slightly lifted, head held high, communicates safety and confidence. This is what psychologists call a power pose, and it tells the other person's primal brain, I am open, I am not a threat, and I am comfortable with my place in the world. In contrast, a closed-off, slumped posture, hunched shoulders, crossed arms, a downward gaze screams submission, anxiety, or even untrustworthiness. Our ancestors knew that someone trying to make themselves smaller was likely hiding something or feeling weak. Imagine this scene, a high-stakes business meeting. 2 people are vying for the same contract. The first, let's call him Alex, walks in clutching his briefcase to his chest like a shield. His shoulders are rounded, and his eyes dart around the room, avoiding the decision-maker. He feels the pressure, and his body is betraying him. Now, in walks Sarah. She moves with a smooth, deliberate pace, her shoulders relaxed and back, her arms swinging gently at her sides. Her posture isn't aggressive, it's simply present and occupying its space confidently. She makes brief, warm eye contact with everyone at the table before taking her seat. Who has already started winning? Sarah. Her presence alone has filled the room with an aura of competence and authority, all without a single word. You can practice this with a simple trick. Every time you walk through a doorway, use it as a mental trigger to pull your shoulders back and lift your chin. It's a tiny adjustment that fundamentally changes your physical broadcast. But your body is only half the broadcast. The other half is the sound you make. We obsess over the perfect words, but in a first impression, the music of your voice often matters more than the lyrics. Your vocal tonality, the pitch, pace, and resonance of your voice is a direct line to your emotional state. A voice that's high-pitched, fast, and shaky betrays nervousness. A voice that is steady, clear, and pitched in a lower, more resonant register conveys authority, calm, and credibility. This isn't about faking a deep voice, it's about speaking from your diaphragm instead of your throat. A resonant voice feels grounded and certain. Speaking too quickly can signal anxiety, as if you're rushing to get your words out before being interrupted. Deliberate pacing with thoughtful pauses, however, implies that you believe your words are worth waiting for. Think about the subtle but powerful phenomenon of uptalk, where every statement ends with a rising inflection, making it sound like a question? It's a very common speech pattern, but it subconsciously signals to the listener that you're seeking approval and are unsure of what you're saying. Now, picture yourself at a cafe. You could say, I'll have a latte, with that hesitant, upward lilt. The barista might not consciously notice, but their brain registers a lack of conviction. Or, you can look the barista in the eye and say, with a calm, downward inflection, I'll have a latte, please. The words are nearly identical, but the delivery is worlds apart. The second version projects an effortless confidence that people are instinctively drawn to. You're not being demanding, you're being clear and certain. That certainty is magnetic. Once your posture and voice have set a confident stage, the connection is sealed through your eyes. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul, and in those first 7 seconds, they are the gateway to trust. When you hold someone's gaze, it does something remarkable inside both of your brains. It triggers the release of oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. This simple act communicates that you are present, you are engaged, and you are being transparent. It says, I see you, and I am allowing you to see me. This vulnerability is the bedrock of rapport. Of course, it's a delicate dance. Too little eye contact makes you seem dishonest, uninterested, or insecure. Too much, and you can come across as aggressive or just plain creepy. The secret is to find a natural rhythm. A great guideline is the 50-70 rule. Aim to hold eye contact for about 50% of the time while you're speaking, and around 70% of the time while you're listening. This shows you're paying close attention without staring them down. A great technique is to use the gaze triangle, letting your eyes move naturally from one of their eyes to the other, then briefly down to their mouth, and back up. Here's a simple hack for your next conversation. When you make eye contact, hold it just long enough to consciously notice the color of their eyes. By the time you've registered blue or brown, you've likely held their gaze for the perfect duration to establish a genuine, non-threatening connection. The next universal signal, one that transcends all language barriers, is a genuine smile. Our brains are master detectives when it comes to spotting a fake. The difference between a forced, polite smile and a real one is scientifically proven. A genuine smile, known as a Duchenne smile, involves the activation of 2 key muscle groups, the ones that pull up the corners of your mouth, and crucially, the muscles around your eyes that create those little crinkles at the corners, often called crow's feet. This is something we can't easily fake on command, and our subconscious knows it. A forced smile, which only uses the mouth, can be perceived as a mask, a sign of insincerity, or even social obligation. Think about the automatic, lifeless smile you get from a flight attendant after a long-haul flight, versus the way a close friend's entire face lights up when they see you after a long time. One is a function, the other is a feeling. A genuine smile also triggers emotional contagion. When you smile authentically at someone, their brain's mirror neurons often compel them to smile back, creating a shared positive moment. To bring out your own genuine smile, don't just command your face to smile. Instead, find something to genuinely appreciate in the moment. Maybe it's the person's interesting tie, or you can recall a happy memory just before you meet them. That authentic positive emotion will travel up to your eyes, broadcasting warmth and trustworthiness that is instantly recognizable and deeply appealing. Once you've set the stage with your nonverbals, the spotlight turns to conversation. And here lies the greatest paradox of making a good first impression: it has almost nothing to do with what you say about yourself. The secret is to make the other person feel like the most interesting person in the room. The psychology behind this is incredibly powerful. When we talk about ourselves, our brain's pleasure centers light up with a hit of dopamine, the same chemical released when we eat delicious food or receive money. By skillfully getting someone else to talk about themselves, you are literally giving their brain a reward. They will associate that good feeling with you. So, instead of preparing a mental resume of your accomplishments, prepare a few thoughtful, open-ended questions. Don't ask a yes or no question like, "Do you like working here?" Instead, ask, "What's been the most surprising part about working here?" Instead of a generic nice party, try, "This is a great event." What's your connection to the host? This invites a story, not just a fact. Imagine you're at a dinner party. The guest who spends all night boasting about their career might seem impressive on paper, but the guest who asks you about your passions, listens intently, and asks curious follow-up questions is the one you'll remember as being brilliant and charismatic. You walk away thinking, "Wow, what a great conversation," when in reality, they simply made you the star. Now, let's talk about the visual data point that dominates that 7-second scan: your clothes. This isn't about flashy logos or expensive fashion. It's about a psychological principle called enclothed cognition. The theory states that the clothes we wear don't just send a message to others, they send a message to ourselves, influencing our own thoughts and behaviors. More importantly, they are the primary piece of information people process in that first moment, thanks to the primacy effect, our tendency to weigh first information most heavily. This initial visual assessment then creates a halo effect, where if you appear well-dressed and put together, people will subconsciously assume you are also competent, intelligent, and successful. Dressing with intention means ensuring your appearance is congruent with the message you want to send and the context you are in. Meeting a potential client for your graphic design business? A creative, well-put-together outfit signals your artistic eye. A final round interview at a conservative law firm? A classic, perfectly fitting suit communicates professionalism and respect. The key is care and appropriateness. Clothes that are clean, pressed, and fit you well signal that you are detail-oriented and that you value the situation enough to put in the effort. It shows you take yourself seriously, which in turn makes others take you seriously. It's an investment in the story you tell before you even speak. Finally, we've arrived at the technique we teased at the beginning. This is one of the most powerful, yet invisible, tools for building instant rapport. It's called mirroring, or the chameleon effect. It is the subtle, often unconscious, mimicking of another person's body language, gestures, or speech patterns. When done correctly, the conscious mind doesn't even notice it, but it sends a profound signal to the subconscious brain that says, "I am like you. I understand you. We are in sync." It's a nonverbal way of saying we are on the same team. This is rooted in our brain's mirror neuron system, which fires both when we perform an action and when we see someone else perform that same action. It's the biological basis of empathy. If the person you're talking to leans forward on the table, you might naturally lean forward a few seconds later. If they gesture with their right hand while making a point, you might find yourself doing the same. If they speak in a quiet, measured tone, you can match their volume and pace. If they touch their chin thoughtfully while listening, you might do the same a moment later. The absolute key is subtlety. This is not a game of Simon Says. If you copy every move instantly, you'll be spotted, and it will be deeply unsettling. But if you use a delay, mix it with your own gestures, and let it happen naturally, it creates a powerful, unspoken bond. They won't know why, but they will leave the interaction feeling that you just get them. It's a social superpower, hiding in plain sight. Remember, this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not a substitute for professional advice. That 7-second window doesn't have to be a source of anxiety. It's an opportunity. Mastering a first impression isn't about becoming a manipulative actor or hiding your true self. It's the exact opposite. It's about being intentional. It's about removing the static, the nervous fidgeting, the hesitant voice, the distracting appearance so that the signals you send truly reflect the confident, approachable, and capable person you are. By understanding the psychology, you get to control the narrative. Now, I have a question for you. Think about a time a first impression you had of someone turned out to be completely wrong. What did you initially think, and what made you change your mind? Share your story in the comments below. It's fascinating to see how these initial judgments can evolve, and your experience could be a powerful reminder for all of us.